Today we are going to see two methods using the ampersand and also the flash fill, how to combine, join together several separately columns into one single column. Let's say I want to join first name with the last name and couple with the department and with the hire date. I can easily do that using two methods. We can do it using the flash fill or we can use the ampersand. Both of those methods work very well, but we need to be mindful because there's advantages and disadvantages on both of them. So let's dive into it. Let's first start it with the flash fill because I think it's the most easiest way to start with, and then we can elaborate a little more, a little further with other methods. In this case, I have a data set about human resources. I have many columns and several rows. As the first column, we have employee ID and then first name, last name, department, job title, hire date, employment status, location, age, educational level, and annual salary, USD dollars. Let's say I want to start by grouping together column B and column C, first and last name. I want to combine those two columns into one column. And I need to go all the way here to the right, let's say column L. And can I use column T, for example? No, I cannot. But why is that? Because I cannot skip columns. Because I want to use flash fill, and flash fill is a tool of Excel, I cannot skip columns. I need to go straight, directly to the column that is attached to the dataset. So column L, the first blank column to the right. Let me label this column as full name, enter. I can also increase the width by clicking in between one column and another, click, hold, and drag to the right. And as the result of this first cell, I want to combine the first and the last name. In this case, Blake Martin. So let me write this here, Blake Martin, enter. And on top of that, I don't know if you guys realize, I'm using the first name that is Blake coupled with the last name. However, I am also using here an extra space to separate those two words because I don't want to actually group together Blake Martin in just one single word. No, I want to separate them. First space and the last name. Now on the cell underneath, I can use the shortcut key on my keyboard. That is the Control E. Control E. So here we go, Control E. Excel is going to copy this formula all the way down to all the rows that you have using the same sequence, the same logic that you used before in the cell above. So the first name, space, last name, first name, space, last name, so on, so on, so on, throughout all the rows that we have. Let's say you can't find or you can't activate the Control E, the flash fill. How can we do? You can go to the Data tab, and all the way here to the right, you can find the flash fill. And if you leave your cursor hovering over the flash fill, you can see this little dialog box that's going to pop up on the screen. Flash fill, Control E is the key, the shortcut key, right? Automatically fills in values. So we just give Excel an example, Control E in the cell underneath, and that's it. We have all the sequence throughout all the rows. This is how we can use Control E. Now, let's say, how can I do the same using the ampersand that is a symbol of Excel? And by the way, why should I use ampersand if I already have the flash fill working just fine? Because flash fill has a very disadvantage. If you change the name, the reference that you are using, let's say, instead of Blake Martin, I want to use Blake Smith. Smith, enter. If I go all the way to the right again, look at the surname or the last name. It's not Smith, but it's Martin. So the flash fill does not update automatically. So this is a downside of using the flash fill. The very advantage to use the flash fill is it's very simple to use. You just type what you want and in the cell underneath, Control E, and that's it, you're done. So we have advantages and disadvantages by using the flash fill. It's very simple to use, it's very fast, but it's not going to update when the dataset updates. Let me undo this action. Now we have again Blake Martin. The full name we did with the flash fill, but let me select this whole column and delete, get rid of the information. And again, I want to do the same process, but this time using the ampersand. The disadvantage of the ampersand is it's kind harder to do and to replicate the same result. However, it does automatically update when the dataset updates. So let me show you here an example. Equals sign, always start with the equals sign, because if you like or not, the ampersand needs to be used as a formula. So equals sign. Basically, the ampersand is going to concatenate, to join, to combine, couple together cells that you have separately into one single cell. Actually, the same that we did with the flash fill. So let me go here, equal, and then I want to select first the first value that I want. Let's say Blake, that is the first name. And I want to combine it, ampersand. Every time you want to group something, you use ampersand. It's like the plus sign, the addition sign, right? The plus sign. So first cell, ampersand, the second cell, or any other cell that you want to use. And then you can hit enter. Excel is going to automatically combine those two cells directly. And there is something interesting here. Those cells are actually grouped together. There's no space separating those words. So if you want to add a extra text, a extra thing, what you can do is double click on the formula, 1, 2. And before I select the second cell, what we need to have before or have first, we need to have an extra space, right? So let me get rid of the second cell. Now we only have the first one, ampersand, and then I want to add an extra space. I need to manually input the extra space right here because there's no such column with a space to be used. So let me open quotations and then space and close quotations. It's very important every time you want to write a custom sentence, even though it's just a little space, you need to input this text into quotations. And then ampersand, the last name. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm combining the first name with a space with the last name, and then enter. Okay, now we have the same result as before. And how can we copy this formula down to all the other rows? We can simply go to the fill handle, or this small square that we have at the bottom right corner of Excel. Just click twice, very fast, 1, 2, that's it. Now again, we have the same result, but did you notice the difference of effort we need to input right here to have the same result? For sure, it's way harder, but there's a very interesting advantage. As we did before, we changed the last name to Smith. What is going to happen if I do it again? Let's say Smith with double H, Smith. Enter. If we go all the way to the right, as we can see, the full name is correct. It's going to automatically be updated because we are using a formula in Excel, and this is the benefit of using formulas. So you need to choose by yourself what makes what is the best for you, right? What's the best option? To use flash fill or to use a ampersand? You need to choose. In my case, I always like to use, guys, I need to be honest with you, the ampersand because it's automatically updates. Okay, so we already have the full name right here. Let me reduce the width, and I want to do something else. On column M, let me increase quite a lot the width. On the column M, I want to add a customizable or a custom sentence, let's say. Let's call it that way, custom sentence. Now I want to combine in different columns. For sure, I want to start with the flash fill because it's easier. I want to combine first the name, so Blake Martin, comma, space, and I can write something like, I don't actually need the comma. Blake Martin work as or work in sales. Oh, I just missed the click here. Work in sales. It's just a customizable text, so we need to write the full sentence in the cell. Blake Martin works in sales as a sales representative. Sales representative. Just me check for the spelling because I think it's wrong. Representative. Yeah, that's it. Maybe I can select everything here. Control C to copy. Go all the way here to the last portion. Get rid of. Control V. That's it. Now I know everything. There's no typo here. If I go to the cell underneath, I can hit Control E, or I can go to the flash fill icon, click on it, and that's it. Here we have first name. And as you guys can see, no, it's not correct. Even though I did the first cell correctly, first name with the last name works in sales as a sales representative. Excel didn't follow the same sequence or the same logic to the other rows. It actually looked like a different language. It actually looked like English, right? So what we can do here is, if you have a error like that, you don't need to go to the first cell, but you can go to the first cell where you have the first error. And in my case, do I have some errors in the first cell? No, I don't think so. Do I have some errors in the second cell? Yeah, I think so. Everything here is messed up. So what I can do is I can double click in this cell and just make sure I properly correct the cell. Jamie Thompson works as, let me check his department, finance, as finance, as a, oh sorry, he works in finance as a finance analyst, financial analyst. Okay, that's it. Let me just check the spelling, right? Financial analyst. Analyst, yes, perfect. Let me get rid of all the other portion and then hit enter again. And maybe Excel can see the sequence you did before and try to overcome the errors. But if you have any errors again, you can do the same for the third cell and so on. And Excel is going to find Excel is going to find the right pattern here, right? But let's say it's too difficult to open the cell and try to figure out what is wrong, what's not. So another thing you can do is select everything, delete, and we already have, let's say 3 cells, but the third one is wrong. Let me properly organize it. Works in marketing. I think this one is correct. Marketing as a SEO analyst. Marketing as a SEO analyst. Enter. Okay, now we have 3 cells or 3 patterns. And those patterns are equal. We have works in, works in, and then the department, SA. That's it. Everything is fine here. We have already 3 cells, 3 patterns is better than just 1 pattern, right? And then go to the 4th cell and then Control E again. Okay, now Excel is starting to understand the sequence, but let me undo the action, Control Z, and let me do one more cell just to make sure. For this one, we are going to have this name right here. Let me copy and just paste right here. Make it easier to copy. This person works in, let's do it one more time, guys. Now it's going to work. Operations as a operations manager. Operations manager. Okay, that's it. Let me increase the width. Control E again. Okay, now I think everything is working. It basically took us 4 attempts to create this correct sequence or to Excel understand the pattern. And of course, guys, this can happen on a real life situation, right? On a real world. And this is why I think it's important to show you how to manage the errors. So I try the first, the second, the third, and then the fourth cell, and then Excel understand what I would like to have. Okay, so we did this with the ampersand, right? No, sorry, with the flash fill. Now we can do the same using the ampersand. And I just want to hide those columns because the data set is getting wider and wider, right? So select both of those columns, right click, and then hide just to make more area to work here. Now on column N, I want to have again a custom sentence, but this time I want to use the ampersand. And I also want to show you guys a different thing here. When we work with dates in Excel, we have a problem. Let me show you very quick. Equals, and then if I select a date, higher date, for example, and then hit enter, I can see here the date correctly, but let's say I want to couple the date ampersand with something else. Date, and then open quotations, space, close quotations, ampersand, the first name of the person, that is Blake. Enter. We have a problem because Excel is not going to use the date itself in the format we are used to, months, months, days, and years. However, it's going to use just a number because Excel stores dates as numbers. And now it's clear that that is true, right? So this is a number, it's not a date. We need to convert the date, the number, to the date itself. We need to retrieve the original format. How can we do that? This is exactly what we are going to do now with this custom sentence. Let's go with equals, and then the first name, that is Blake, couple with the second name, right? The last name, ampersand. However, before we select the second name, we need to add an extra space. So open quotations, space, close quotations, ampersand, and select the second name, Martin. Now I want to add something like ampersand, open quotations. So Martin was hired on, space, close quotations, and then we can use the date. Ampersand, date. Now let me go again with something else. Ampersand, open quotations, comma, space, and let's say, and works in, space, close quotations, and ampersand, the department. That's it. Enter. Now we have a more customized sentence with more information in it. Blake Martin was hired on 45/47. I don't know what does this date mean, and works in sales. So we need to properly format this date. And to do that, we need to use another formula that is actually the text formula. So we are using a formula within another formula, actually, text combined with ampersand. And when we have formulas with other formulas, and etc. in the same cell, we can call it nested formula. Just for a curiosity, right? Let me double click on the first cell, 1, 2, to edit. The F2 cell corresponds to the hire date. And I want to improve the format to month, days, and years. So what I can do is, I can open here the text formula, double click on it, and pay attention here, guys. It's very important. Text is a function, so it must be a open parenthesis. Open parenthesis, the first argument is the value, that is cell F2, and then comma. As the format, I want to use something like, again, open quotations, first the month, so double M, slash, or yeah, it's slash, right? Slash, right slash. DD, that stands for the day, but with 2 digits, slash again, and years. Now I want to use not only 2 Ys, double Ys, but 4 times Ys, because I want to have 4 digits in the year. Close quotations, close parentheses, and we good to go. Hit enter. Blake Martin was hired on April 25th of 2024 and works in sales. Of course, we could increase this sentence with other cells, let's say job title, employment status, so on, so on, so on. But the thing is, we just need to do again a ampersand and maybe open quotations, type the sentence, close quotations, so on, so on, so on. And maybe we need to use the text to format a number, let's say date, to the actual date, and etc. But it's very simple, as you guys can see. There's no difficult at all. Let me bring this formula down by clicking on the little square or on the fill handle, click, hold, and drag downwards, and that's it. Now we have a custom sentence. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to group columns in Excel using both the ampersand and also the flash fill.